What is going on YouTube? ModzvilleUSA here, back with another video, and we've got some breaking news here. A couple days late, just came on my radar, but this is huge. Josh Davidson, otherwise known as Octal, in the 360 modding scene, has released a beta pack for RGH 1.2 that works for Trinity and Corona consoles. Now this is huge news. So if you're familiar with RGH 1.2, previously only available on Falcon and Jasper Phat revisions of the 360, and they offer Instaboot, which is massive. It is great. Up until now, Jasper has always been my recommended console, Jasper Phat, because it is a very reliable console, and you're getting instant boot times with RGH 1.2. I still think Jasper's probably the most reliable console, but this will effectively make it so there's no downside in booting up a slim RGH compared to a Jasper. So if you prefer the slims, the S models, to the Phat models, then this is you're definitely going to want to do this. And if you already have your 360 modded, you're probably going to want to crack it open and give this a go for Instaboot, reliable boot times. Yeah, so we're giving this a shot today. I'm going in, haven't done this before. I already have a Trinity that's SRGH'd, but we're going to crack it open, and I'm going to try to make this as noob friendly as possible. But you're going to want to come down here, download the beta pack, and if you don't already have the modified version of Jrunner called Jrunner with extras, you're going to want to grab that, and I'll have that down below, link to that down below in the description. Now also consider giving Octal a donation. I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but he posted something on his YouTube. Give him a sub, follow him if you want all of the newer developments in the 360 scene. But he's got some medical issues that he's going through, and he's currently on the road seeking treatment. And yeah, if you can donate anything to the cause for the amazing work he does, that would be very appreciated. He does great things, and he's going through it, and we all know what it's like living in America with bills to pay, so our medical bills specifically. So consider that. And yeah, let's get right into this. Okay, so here's my Trinity. Got it taken apart on my desk already, and I'm gonna need to wire up my programmer anyway. Or I guess I technically don't need to. I could flash it via other methods, but I'm going to be wiring this bad boy up. So let's pull up the diagram for the Trinity Nand-X setup. Okay, so this is what it is. Wiring, all color coded. So yeah, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get my Nand-X set up, wired up, and I'm going to dump the NAND. Okay, so we got our Nand-X JR programmer, whatever it is you're using to read write. We got it hooked up right here. So all I'm gonna do is plug in power. I'm not gonna turn the console on, but we do need to feed it some juice. And then standard USB mini, hook that up to the computer and boot up Jrunner with the extras. So let's do it. Okay, so here we are in Jrunner. Now, if this is a fresh console, you haven't RGH'd it before, what you're going to want to do is make sure NAND reads is set to 2. Go read NAND, it'll read your NAND twice, and then it should say NANDs are the same. If everything went well, it will say NANDs are the same, and then you can proceed. However, I've already RGH'd this console, so I don't want to read the NAND at all. I'm just simply going to look at what the serial number is on my 360, and then that will be the name of the folder that this console is within my Jrunner folder. So we'll load up my proper NAND. Okay, here we go. So I've got my NAND loaded up right here. So you can see I already got my CPU key, and what we are going to do is click the SMC plus option over here. We are going to create an ECC. I'm going to write the ECC, and there we go, bada bing bada boom. So yeah, glitch to SMC plus, and then make sure you're on the latest dash, and there we go. Now let's install the chip, and then we're going to need to program the chip. Okay, so here's the diagram for me, because I'm using a Matrix V3, the one with the oscillator here. So this is what we're going to do. Many of the points that I had for the sRGH are going to stay the same. I'm actually going to disable the oscillator and wire up the standby clock here, and I'm also going to need to wire up a 10k ohm resistor to E and scrape a trace over here, and yeah, we're going to solder PLL to this point. So these are going to be, there's going to be two fairly brittle points here, the standby clock and I assume this PLL. So it's going to be one of those. Get it soldered, maybe hit it with a dab of hot glue just so the wire doesn't get tugged or strained in any way, because that can be a disaster and will require some trace repair if that happens. So yeah, we're gonna be careful with this one, but yeah, we're gonna bridge, slim, remove this cap here if you have it. If you don't have an oscillator, then you don't need to worry about this, but if you've got this little bridge resistor here, then you're going to want to remove it. And 10k, 5 to 10k ohm resistor. I'm going with a 10k. Got a 5k, got a 7k, whatever. Just put something in there for the sake of safety. So let's get to the desk. Okay. So we are going to flux this up. Now these are already tinned up, as I've already had wires installed there. I've got ground coming, got a wire for ground already. You're obviously going to need to wire it up if you have not already. The ground goes here. You can also use the RF shield if you want, or not RF shield, but the metal shielding of like the AV jacks up here if you want. I prefer to just solder it to the board. So make sure your wire isn't frayed in any way. You don't want to send 3 volts to the wrong pad. would not be good. Okay. Now, I don't love that joint. I want to come in here and clean this up a bit. There we go. I like that. I'm going to hit it with my toothbrush. So I still have some leftover tacky flux from the first install. So I'm going to get that nice and clean. Some 99 IPA. So we got ground, we got power, and let's just real quick go over what needs to be done on the chip itself physically, not programming wise. So if this is a fresh chip, you're going to want to come in here and bridge these two pads. In order to do that, I like to just heat it up, feed a bit of solder, and should be good. Just these, not the bottom row of slim. And then secondly, if you have the oscillator like me, we are going to come in and we're just going to flow this guy right off the board. And it's as simple as that. Clean my tip off. And while we're in here, I'm going to take my 10k ohm resistor wired up to E. So an SMD resistor would probably be the nicest way to go about doing this. The cleanest looking. I don't have any on hand that are 10k ohms, so I'm using one of these Phat boys. So I cut it down nice and tiny. My pen. I'll flux this bitch up. Guaranteed. Look at that, night and day, man. Just so much more pleasant. Okay, I'm gonna leave it hovering just like that. Bring back the tacky. I'm gonna tin this guy up. Very nice. So physically we're good to go. Slim pads are bridged, oscillator is disabled, and we got a 10k ohm on our E line here. Beautiful. So far we've got VC and ground connected. I'll go over these guys. These are already connected where they need to be. We'll do those last. And so now let's do C. This is standby clock. The oscillator was taking care of this before, but we're going to pull it from the board instead, as recommended. Okay, our next point is going to be this guy, right? Nope. One down. So we got these 4 resistors, then we got these 2 pads here. It's going to be the one on the right. So I'm going to take my fiberglass pen. And there is an alt point on the bottom of the board that's much safer to solder to, but I believe it's less consistent, so we're going with this one. But if you don't feel comfortable soldering to this pad, it's not a hard pad to solder to. It's just these are notoriously brittle, easy to rip, and then you're going to have to jump it if you do rip it. So just be warned, be careful. You fuck it up, not my problem. Okay, it's good and tinned. And I'm going to use some 30 AWG on this guy as opposed to the 28. Feel good about that. Joint's not bridging, insulation's nice and covered. It's not bridging to these resistors, and I kind of just wire trained it between these two capacitors here. The pressure I was using with my finger, as I kind of bent it with the tweezers, was just, we don't want any pressure on that joint, so I was firmly holding that down to make sure I didn't snag it. Because, like I said, it's mad brittle. Be careful doing what I was doing if you do such a thing. Okay, so quickly I'll go over B and A. A is reset. And reset goes to FT4R2. That's the standard CPU reset point. And B is post, and post goes right here. Now route it how you want to route it. I routed my reset through what would be this hole here that they use underneath the heatsink. You're going to have to remove the heatsink to use the same routing as me, but however you choose to route it, this is what I've got going on here. We've got post, which is B, going through this hole, and on the other side that comes out and around, and it's soldered to that second pad there. And FT4R2, that is coming straight out the hole and straight onto that point there. So go ahead and get those bad boys wired up. And the last little piece of the puzzle here, god damn, so much of the lint getting all over. So we're going to wire up this new PLL point here. So what I'm thinking, I'm going to go 30 AWG again, wire it up to this guy, and I'm going to go through this smaller hole here. So this PLL point we want is right in this area. So I'm definitely going to need to pop this heatsink off, unfortunately. So what I do with these, I do it off camera. Kind of just take a flathead, give it a crack, do two sides, and then the rest you can kind of just shimmy off. So let's get that done. Now I'm coming in here with my Exacto knife. And I'm just going to scrape, not too hard, not too soft. You don't want to accidentally cut that nearby trace above it. Just a bit of the solder mask, we want to get that up. And when scraping a board like this, it can be a bit messy. It's hard to see the results, but just come in here with some IPA, and there we go. Now we can see what's going on easily, nice and easy. We can get a bit more. That's pretty damn good. Okay, great. Now a couple fuzzies on this bad boy. Load up my tip just a little bit. I gotta say, it looks pretty damn good. Cool. And this is what reset looks like from the top here. Coming out of that hole, going straight to A. Probably not the most optimal routing, but it was pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, now let's program the chip. We'll put it back together. Start testing. So we've got this guy right here. We do not need to plug in the Nand-X or the my mistake, the power. I've got my pin header here. What I'm gonna do is plug it in like this. And when you go to read, just kind of put your finger on it, apply a little pressure, make sure those pins are touching, and then I'm going to plug in my Nand-X and C in Jrunner. So it's plugged in, holding this guy back to the desktop here. I'll go custom NAND glitch chip functions. Let me check the readme one more time. Matrix Cool Runner. Okay, so we get 2 short blinks and a short blink. Checks were passed, but the console failed to start. Timing too low. Then 2 short blinks and then long. The checks failed, so the timing is either too high or far too low. What were the values here? Okay, so it's saying start with 88 through 94. So I'm going to start with 88, and if it doesn't work, I'll skip ahead by like 3, maybe 3 or 4 until I get it working. So here's how you program it. Go into Jrunner, Advanced Custom NAND Glitch Functions, check XSVF, load the source, And then I'm going to find the folder with the slim RGH 1 beta files. Working on a Trinity here. Using a matrix XSVF. And what was it again? 88 through 94. We'll go 88. And again, I'm holding my pin header down. I'll choose run. Okay. That's all there is to it. So, at this point, I'm going to go ahead, get my heatsink back on, clean up some more of this flux, put it in the shell, put on my ring of light there, and hook it up to my TV, and I'm just going to go through it. I'm going to do it all off camera, and I'll let you know where I ended up with the timing files. It might work right away. I might be trying to find the right timing file for quite a bit. We shall see. I will let you know. Okay, excuse the mess here. So I've got my 360 hooked up, got HDMI and Ethernet hooked up. It's not plugged in. I have my controller synced, so when I plug it in, it will just boot up, and my God, is it impressive. Now, if your controller is not synced, when it's plugged in, you can come on in here, little screwdriver. You just kind of bridge the bottom to it. You can just run it over, just lightly run it over these pins on the faceplate connector there, and you will engage either eject or power, either which is fine. I'm not going to do that. So I got this guy synced. Check this out. I want to show you just a couple boots. Just the first timing file I tried. It's just Instabooting every time. Boom. Let's do it again. And then we got XELL up there. I'll show you again. A couple boots here for you. This is nuts, dude. Instaboot. Let's do it again. Plug it back in. Instaboot. One more for the road. This is huge news. I'm surprised more people are not talking about this. Yeah, that's massive. That is massive. Okay, well let's finish up this guide here. Trying to be thorough. So what we do, we just wait. And there we go, we got an IP address. So it's, mine is currently 192.168.50.14. I'm gonna go punch that in on the in Jrunner, get our CPU key out. So here we are back in Jrunner. Now I've already got my CPU key, and if you don't have access to an Ethernet cable, you can manually punch it in right here. That is totally fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you just like this. 50.14 get CPU key, and I've already got it, so nothing's really going to happen here. Now once you get that plugged in, we are going to make sure everything's still properly selected here. Glitch 2, SMC plus, and we are going to create XE build image. Boom. Now you can either use plug your 360 back in to your PC, or back into power, and then hook up the Nand-X, write it that way. I want to opt to just use a flash drive and got that plugged into my computer. It's got to be FAT32. We're going to go show working directory, copy, and we are going to find the flash drive. It should be this guy. Let's make sure it's FAT32. It is. I'm going to paste update.flash, and that's it. We just pop that out. Let's go back to the 360. Alright, we back over here. I'll unplug this bad boy. I'll plug this in to the right USB port. Usually doesn't work when you plug it into the left one. Plug it back in. See another instant boot, baby. Bada bing. Nice. I'm gonna unplug my Ethernet cable. You don't want to accidentally boot the console with the Ethernet hooked up. Sign into the internet, get banned immediately. It's no fun. Well, alright guys. So, XELL was acting a little wonky. So what I've opted to do, I just plugged my Nand-X back in, as well as I'm feeding the console some power. Remove the ring of light just so the Xbox doesn't get turned on. And we're just going to use Jrunner to flash this. This is why you always keep the Nand-X or whatever your programmer that you're using is. Just keep it hooked up until everything's gravy, everything's good, just in case you need to come in and use Jrunner to flash an image. Yeah, I've had it many times where I desoldered my Nand-X and needed to resolder it for one reason or another. Okay, we're done writing the update flash to our 360. I'm going to hook it up to the TV, make sure everything works, and if it does, desolder the Nand-X and put it back together. Alright, let's give it the college try here. Plug it in, turn it on. Instabooting. Let's try another one. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, go show Octal some love. This is amazing. This is a game changer. Now, I still got to do one for Coronas, so I'll make sure to get. I've got a couple Coronas sitting around in the stack over there. Make sure to get that video shot for you guys. Give it a test. Try to break it down. Any requests? Leave them in the comments below. Leave a like. Go show Octal some love. And if you're looking for a pre-modded 360, I'm sold out right now. Just had a big wave of orders, but check out the Shopify, ModzvilleUSA.com. I will start. All my slims will be RGH 1.2 from now on, because these are the shit. So yeah, thanks for watching, dudes. Modzville signing out.